Hey, welcome back to the KB Money Show. It's your boy KB, and I have my host, Mr. Ivy Lee. What's good, man? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing amazing. I'm feeling blessed to be here, and I'm just excited for this week's episode and see what we're going to discuss.
Yeah. Episode six in the building.
Wow, lucky number six. Let's go.
Number six, number six. So tell me about your week. And you was getting ready to tell me before we hit recorded. Like, wait. Wait. So go ahead and tell me how was your week, man.
Man, it was a pretty good week. So
And let
I
me
mean,
wait. One thing that went well, one thing that you was like, okay, that didn't go well.
um, I'm gonna say one thing that I enjoyed this week was that I just say professionally, at my job, I'm switching more to sales. And I don't want to say switching because that was always the path, but like I'm moving along towards my boss put it a certain way. He was like, "This is like this day next week. This is when y'all start doing what y'all came here to do." And I was like, "Okay." That made me feel ready when he said it like that. I was like, "All right." I feel like I'm at bat ready. Yep, I'm getting ready. You know what I'm saying? And so, I'm excited. I really enjoy sales, and I feel blessed to have the opportunity to contribute to another organization and to continue growing professionally in that arena. Beyond that, I'll say something. I don't know if I have something that went bad this week, but something that went funny. We were supposed to have I was supposed to go in office twice this week. I always go in twice a week, but this Thursday, on Wednesday, the news was predicting this huge storm, like winter storm, 4 inches of snow. Like it's gonna be crazy. And I mean, it snowed, but it wasn't that crazy. But we ended up like ahead of time saying no, we're not gonna go in office. And it was a little sad. We were all gonna have like it was like a kickoff, a kickoff for the year. And that
Yeah.
would have been cool to have in person, but we still did it virtually, and it was still cool to learn about the company and things like that. But you know, I'm glad that we're able to pivot and do these things remote, but it makes you miss the in person connection. But yeah, man, I don't know. Is it Mardi Gras this week or something like that? Because someone from our office is from New Orleans, and they brought a king cake. They brought several king cakes to the office. Like they didn't
I
just
mean,
bring them.
it's February. It definitely happens in February for
They,
sure.
they shipped them all the way from New Orleans. Like they came in on FedEx, and so that was pretty cool.
Oh, that was nice.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So was that bad or was that didn't go well?
No. That was awesome. That really made my day. So I should have included that in the good part. Man, I seen that, and it's funny because I ain't gonna say the coworkers didn't appreciate it. They just didn't understand it. They don't know. They don't know what Mardi Gras is. Kind of like the way I'm learning the New England traditions. You know, it was just cool to like as soon as I saw it, my face lit up because I never would have expected to see that up here. They don't even make that up here, and so that was really
Right.
cool. That was really cool of him to bring part of our culture up to Boston, and they all tasted it and they was like, "Man, this is good, but it's sweet," and I was like, "Yeah, you're right."
Yeah,
But
yeah,
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 that was awesome.
yeah. Make sure you slide over because you like way to one side of the screen.
Hmm.
So for me, interesting. I start with I had plans this weekend, right?
Right,
Had everything set up, anniversary weekend and Super Bowl weekend, but the anniversary take precedence over
absolutely.
oh,
This
right?
this is your Super Bowl. What you talking? Yeah, there we go.
And had an appointment with my barber on Thursday
There we go.
because I had before we was gonna leave Friday before we left, like I had a lot of stuff I need to get done. And he called me right before my appointment and was like, hey man,
Ah,
I'm not gonna be able to cut you today.
dang.
And the reason why is because someone
Oh wow.
broke in his shop and stole all the barber's tools.
Wow.
It- So I'm like, okay, all right. What I'm trying to figure out, I'm like, all right, well, I'm sorry to hear that, man. But in the back of my head, selfishly,
You ain't got, then you have one tool left. You ain't got nothing. You're
Well,
like,
I'm still thinking, well, shoot, man. I mean, I can help buy you a tool so I can I want to get my hair cut.
right, right. I go to Amazon or Home Depot grab something.
So
Nah, that's sad though.
yeah. And so you know whenever you go to another barber, you know it feel like you cheating.
Yeah, yeah,
He was like, hey, you because he said, hey man, can I get you tomorrow? And I was thinking, uh, yeah. But he was thinking in the evening, and I'm thinking, I'm not gonna be available. I got stuff I need to do.
right.
So I went to another place and I loved it. And that's the worst thing.
Oh man, you messed around and had too good of an experience. You was just trying to find a filler, an interim. You found a new head coach. Dang.
Be done mess, be done messed around and found a replacement.
Yeah. That's funny.
So man, but yeah. So I'm evaluating my options right right now.
Man, yeah, you made me want to talk on. I don't want because that reminds me of because when I was in Philly, I found one barber because everybody always says in their area, oh, certain barbers can cut, some can't. Everybody say that, but I found my barber in Philly and I really enjoyed it. I had different hairstyles. I came in with a high top. Eventually, I had twists, and eventually it just came to this. But man, I just remember it was after I got to this phase. I went to Spain, and a combination of A, I felt like I'm cheating on my barber, and B, just being cheap. I'm like, man, and I'm in a different country. They don't care about haircuts like we do in America. It's not like somebody will come to you and be like, bro, you're lying. But I think I went like 2, 3 months without getting a cut. And outside the side, I was like, man, I finally got to get one. Because I was gonna go on a trip, or I think it was something coming up. But yeah, man, I got in there, and I'm used to my cut in Philly, and I paid a certain price. It wasn't below average, I'll just say that, but it wasn't crazy. But man, the one in Spain, he was giving me a massage. He was hitting me with he let me he had the TV right in front of me, let me pick what music I wanted to play. I started to get overwhelmed. I was like, this is what's going on. I almost paid half what I paid my man in Philly. I was just like, you know what? It's kind of like you saying, you know what? Loyalty seemed like it's costing me. I don't know. I don't know. Got
Mm,
a smart customer would evaluate the options.
so to go in depth on the place I went to, it was uh it, called the
Mm,
the gentleman. I have to look it up. It's one of those.
mhm.
So you walk in. If you drink, you if you drink, you get you because you become if you're a
Wow.
member, you can have two complimentary drinks. So you come in there, you can relax.
Wow.
Then if you have a business attire on, you can get your shoe shine.
Wow. I like that.
You can get your shoe polish.
There
You
we
get your
go.
shoe shine. If you had work to do, there's a lounge, an executive lounge, and or if you wanted to host a conference, like a conference, it's a conference room, or you can just go and work in there. Executive style chairs, seating, everything. Then then you go to your stylist and
Mm.
they cut your hair, they make you feel good, they talk to you. When they shave you, they put aftershave on so your skin feels smooth like after whenever you get your hair cut, when you get your hair cut, they cut your hair, they put the towel around, so you feel good. But
Wow.
then they take you and you get a shampoo. Like then you get a shampoo and then they massaging your scalp. You be in that thing, bro. And, and then
Wow.
and then they put the towel on, then they do a little massages and they do kind of do like a little micro facial, like just a mini facial if you want to do that. And then they got some other things that they'll do as well. But man, you know how when you get massages, when you go get a massage, you just feel good afterwards. That's
Mhm.
how I feel. You like, man, you just like,
Man,
it's an experience. Let me say that it was another place I had a membership at. It was called the Boardroom, and then I ended up leaving there. But let's just say it's levels. There's levels to it, and the environment. Sometimes you get caught up. It's- you said loyalty, and you like Ken. Why are y'all talking about the barbershop? But I'm gonna tell you why.
yeah.
A lot of times in life, you get it's your normal, and that's the only world that you know. But understand it's a whole new world out there that you just might not even have exposure to. And the exposure is everything because once you get the exposure, you can't unexpose it.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
And so that
man.
it's a part of your experience now. And you know that it's out there in the world. And sometimes you're like, well, why not me?
And it like kind of like what you were saying, like with the barber example. So like, and once you travel, because it's easy if you don't ever leave a certain area, unless your barber just retire, you can have the same barber your whole life, or just go one or two or three. But man, once you start switching different barbers, like you said, you just start noticing, oh, certain barbers hit me with certain because they don't tell you what they're doing. They just because I'm the type of person. I'm a quiet client. I'm easy. I'm not gonna talk. I might even close my eyes after a couple sessions. Now I trust you. I know what you're doing. But you start noticing some apply certain creams for you. Some start putting cologne on you, and then you mess around and experience that. And in your case, they literally massaging you, stuff like that, hitting you with towels. It's hard to go back to that and then come back to your barber. And beforehand, you didn't know what you didn't know. He was like, man, bro was looking out for me when he included the wash. I thought, you thought that was like above and beyond. He was like, my man looking out for me. I got to tip him. Man, they hit you with the supreme over there. And it's like, okay. Like you said, it's levels to it.
Yeah, and also the way that they break it down is it's like what it say? Do you want the 3 course, the 5 course, or the 7 course?
I like that. I like that. I was
You
about to
know,
ask, they got chapters, they got franchises or something. Shoot, this is
yeah,
just
I
one
don't.
spot.
Yeah, I don't. You could see if they had a boardroom where you are. I don't think they have this. The one that I went to there, it's kind of more Texas and a few ancillary states, but I don't know. I'm not looking to market them, but you asked.
Right, right.
But anyway, but yeah, no, it was a good experience. The only thing though
Mm,
is the barber situations. Like so sometimes, like the only thing, like if your barber leave, because here's what I learned yesterday that they told me. And I was like, the only thing my concern be is the turnover. Because like one day you got the relationship with your barber, then you go back and you're like, where they go?
right,
Well, when you own a shop, usually they're gonna typically stay there because they own the shop. But
right,
if you are actually working there as an employee, as just like a W-2 employee, and you're not like 1099, it's just like a regular job. And so, that think about it. So when they put in that perspective, I'm like, oh, got it. Because in there, they're not 1099. They're getting paid a salary. Like they're getting paid, you know what I'm saying? Then they get their tips. So it's not like the traditional barbershop from my understanding. And I was like, oh, that's why it's the turnover like that. Because the
right,
regular job, they're like, I'm in here just doing my job, and then something else better come along, then they leave. And so it's not like, how like in the traditional barber chairs, and if I'm wrong, that's fine. But in the traditional barber chairs, you pay your fee, your booth fee, and then
yeah,
you build your clientele, even if you own the shop or you don't. That's kind of like in a traditional one where you just pay your chair fee and then you got to build up your clientele yourself, but you 1099. So technically, you still kind of work for yourself. And so
Yep.
you being at that in that chair, like there's a possibility that you could would stay there for quite a while if you're serious about the business after you built your clientele up. But in those settings, it's just it's a job.
Yeah, no,
That's the only thing, and so yeah.
no, for sure. And like yeah, like it's little things. Like even with the barber I'm at now, like I appreciate that I can go in and book it on the app and book my specific barber. Like I can see if you're not gonna be there that day. Like it's just little things, like you said. I think that if anybody's running a business or doing something, even just incorporating into the way you work at work, just find like small details to incorporate that make you different because it matters.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's get into it. You talking about the small details that matter. Hey, good transition. All right, so I'm about to cue it up. About to cue it up. Hey, don't get mad at me.
Don't
This
shoot
is
the messenger.
don't shoot the messenger, but I have to keep us updated with what's happening.
You'll be
Most
doing us a
people,
disservice if you
most
did.
people shy away. We not shying away. Queuing it up now. Can you see my full screen?
I can see.
The Doge of Efficiency Live Tracker. Did you know they had a tracker?
I did not.
They are tracking how much savings that they're saving the taxpayers. It is, and they're going to dismantle 511 days until July 4th, 2026. And so far, they've saved the taxpayers $36 billion. And if you see towards the bottom, their target is to get to they're just showing you 1 trillion, 2 trillion. That's their goal. And so right now they're at 1.8% progress to goal. And so they've made this visible to uh, the American people.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. So the reason that I brought that up is because I want to pull up something else.
Okay.
Word on the street,
Uh, what they say.
word on the street at USAID, the waste and abuse runs deep.
Mm,
Couple days old, but we're gonna cover it.
interesting.
I don't know if you've heard about this.
I have not.
Okay, well, we're gonna run through. For decades, the United States Agency for International Development has been unaccountable to taxpayers as it funnels massive sums of money to the ridiculous, and in many cases, malicious pet projects of entrenched bureaucrats with next to no oversight. Okay, now, and granted, this is a fact sheet from the WhiteHouse.gov themselves.
Okay.
I'm putting that in context. Here are some of the examples of the waste and abuse that Doge is uncovering. So the
Right.
reason why I showed you the Doge clock and the Doge, that's their job is to audit
Right.
certain agencies and cut 1.5 million to advance diversity, equity, inclusion in Siberia workplaces and business communities. 70,000 for production of a DEI musical in Ireland.
That must have been a good musical. I don't know.
I'm gonna let you comment as each one. Just your natural reaction because you didn't know this was coming. Two
That,
2.5 million for electric vehicles for Vietnam.
What do they need it for? Of my question.
Well, I don't know. Nobody knows. 47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia.
This is starting to sound like money laundering. Cause like, what is this, some of this stuff?
32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru.
I'm speechless. I'm like, okay, 32,000. Shoot.
Two million for sex changes and LGBT activism in Guatemala.
Okay.
6 million to fund tourism in Europe. I'm
And
sorry, in Egypt.
that's interesting. I would be curious to learn more what that was for. Like what that sounds like a more business minded move, but I don't know.
And then they're just going on to say hundreds of thousands of dollars for a nonprofit linked to a designated terrorist organization,
Dang.
even after an inspector general launched an investigation. Millions to Eco Health Alliance, which was involved in research at the Wahoo Lab. Ooh, that sounds sketchy. That's going back to 2020. That I think we all have PTSD when it comes to 2020. So we gonna move past that one. Hundreds of thousands of meals that went to Al Qaeda affiliated fighters in Syria. Funding to print personalized contraceptives, birth control devices in developing countries. That's interesting. We provide condoms to another
I
place.
mean, hey, I'm gonna say I don't know what thinking is, but like I said, I would be curious to know what's going on.
Hundreds of millions of dollars to fund irrigation canals, farming equipment, and even fertilizer to use to support the unprecedented poppy cultivation and heroin production in Afghanistan, benefiting the Taliban. Bottom line, the list literally goes on, and it has been happening for decades. Under President Trump, the waste, fraud, and abuse ends now.
Yeah, all right, you know what my
Now, and keep in mind, this is the this is the money show. So we like Doge is following the money. And
right.
so as an American, we pay taxes. So where so now that you heard this as a tax-paying American, what are your thoughts? How do you feel? Are you indifferent? Like, where do your mind go? Are you outraged? Are you mad that they looking this up and how dare them put this Doge team together to go and explore potential waste in the government? What's going on? Because right now, people going crazy. The people that's going crazy is the people that's been getting their hand greased for
Yeah,
a very long time.
yeah. So, like on the first impression, of course, I'm like, man, I'm all for being more, as a business student, I'm always about being more efficient financially and economically, especially as a government. I love that idea. As a marketing student and marketing person and salesperson, I hate the feeling of being sold to. You know what I'm saying? Or feel when you feel like you're being marketed to. And I didn't. Only felt that a little bit when he was going through the list. A couple things was like okay, but it was only until you got to the end point when it was like talking about this has been going on for decades, blah blah blah. I feel like we still being sold the idea. It's like, bro, y'all in office. Like, let's just do it. You ain't gotta tell me about how bad it was before. Let's just get to it. I'm ready to see, And like you said, they put the tracker. So this is cool. I mean, it's interesting. I want to see. I don't want to just see the tracker though. I want to see what results. What's the new plan with this money we saved? But first, I like the idea of saving the money first. I think this is a good idea, and I think that with this being a KB Money show, we should think about as individuals, do we have a tracker? Are we tracking our own finances? You know what I mean? Is it time for us to tighten up? You know what I mean? So if the US government thinks so, then Who are we to say, nah, I'm gonna just keep doing what I'm doing. I'm gonna just keep operating like normal.
Yes, that's why I wanted to read it off to you because I knew that you would bring a certain perspective and it would and your perspective is your perspective because you didn't know that this was coming. And so to your point, it does seem like in some regards is marketing, just show you how bad the previous administration was, type of thing. But then in some cases, you read some of the stuff, you're like, okay, now some of this is egregious.
Some of that stuff was crazy. It
Like,
was a
and
little crazy.
so and so my point is, are you objective enough to just see what's happening, like both sides? Like you just looking and you just being an observer and you're not letting emotions get into it first before you look at what's going on, or even when something is being presented to you, like, okay, you putting on a little bit right there. Like I can tell that it's coming from a slanted view, and so like you said, I can feel when I'm being marketed to. It's very you can read the language, you could tell, like, um, but something I was watching a YouTube channel and a guy had a live conversation with his mom, right? It was a genuine, nice conversation back and forth, but polar opposites in terms of thought patterns. Naturally, one, as we know, typically in Black households, Democrat. Just, just,
Yeah,
I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, just let's
it
be
is.
like, and if you go against the grain in any other way, you are outcast.
Uncle Ruckus.
Like, immediately though, like without even like dialogue, like, "Uh, I dare you, uh, they're racist."
Yeah,
And you like, what? You know, and then on the other side, and so you have a lot of people that grew up in this frame of thinking, but then when you start poking holes or you start asking questions, it's a lot of things that are emotionally charged on why the reason is. And it may be some logic mixed in there, but you just realize it's a lot of emotion. And so the son, he was like, he is conservative. Like he was like, I'm done with that. I'm done. I'm off the plantation, according to him. And
that's funny.
so he was asking his mom questions, and she said, "Yeah, you always been different. You always challenge things, and you always went
Hit
against,
him with that one.
the grain. And I mean, you my son. I love you, but sometimes I worry about you. You know." But and so they were talking, having dialogue. She told him, just sometimes when things come up, you won't let it go. I'm paraphrasing.
She
You
told him this.
you keep digging, like
Mm,
you keep digging and won't let it go.
interesting.
And in my head, I'm thinking, was that a bad thing?
Right,
Because I'm a digger too. I like
right.
I like to dig. I like this. I've always asked the extra question of like, why is it like that? And then I get to doing like this.
Yeah,
I get to going like this. Well, let me go in. And I'm like, are you
right.
serious? Like, but then and then you wait and then you go back into the matrix, so to speak, metaphorically, and you looking around and you're like, nobody, don't nobody else know that? And then you start, but then you start, and then you can't unread what you saw, can't unsee what you seen. And so like now you have to operate with that new information,
Yeah,
especially when it's verifiable and it's factual. And so you're like, okay, you can't really go back and talk to your people because they don't get it, they don't understand, they didn't read it. You also some people don't want to know that stuff because they gotta do something with it. Like if you remember
Yeah,
the Matrix, they were like, like some people don't want to be, don't wake me up in the Matrix because then now I gotta deal with that and that be on me. Like, and
yeah,
I was totally good with, like, I was good with how it was. And
man,
so you find yourself, if you're not careful, you can find yourself like feeling isolated, like why I'm the one that had to keep digging, and but that wasn't a bad thing. You just was curious. You know how kids when you were younger, you kept asking your parents, well, why? Well, why is this? Why? And they just got tired. Boy, shut up, sit down, go somewhere. And it was
yeah,
because they were tired and they just was lazy and they got tired of they weren't they didn't have, or they didn't have an answer for you and they like, boy, go sit down.
right.
And so it made me think about that. And so going back to the Matrix analogy, and this is my perspective. So my perspective is my perspective. If you're watching, this because you're listening to my perspective. And so you go and dig, and so then you go back to the Matrix and you just blend it in. But then what starts to happen as you're moving around, you'll find somebody else looking around like, what's going on? And you like, oh, And then you go and y'all connect, and then before you know it, you realize you're not alone. You just realize that most people aren't going to dig that way, and they're like, "Why you digging? Stop! Like you digging too much. You doing too much." And it's like, "No, I'm not. I'm reading. I'm educating myself. I'm exploring. I'm asking the additional question of why is this like this, or how is this happening? What was the historical context beyond you a racist?"
Right,
Which may be true too. But at the same time, that never stopped me from that being enough for me to still go and explore.
for sure. Man, it's when you say black people, that refers to a lot of people. But me and you didn't have these type of talks before. But so when I think about black people, this in this story, it makes me think about. I think that me and you were born into an era where we have like certain privileges,
Mm.
and we just it's hard to look at things a different way. The same way we can't understand why they're not getting it is the same way that they can't get it. The same way they can't understand or get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like certain eras might be more shaped by a survivalistic way of thinking. So me and you come in and we get, I ain't gonna say get lucky, but just about, me and you are in an era where if you're on the ball, you can really thrive and forge your own path. And so I don't know if that was possible. I wasn't around to know if that was possible for their age, but I don't know. I hear some people say, I don't mentor adults. I only mentor people that's like 30 and under. And so, and not just because, oh, they're annoying, they're this or that, but it's just, I guess I kind of understand it. It's hard to unwire 10 to 20 plus years of thinking a certain way. So that's why I was like, they didn't have 10 to 20 years of survival thinking I got to take what's at the bottom of the barrel because I'm just happy to be in the barrel.
Mm.
So it's so like you said, once you start, and I think about the black community too, the part of that survivalistic thinking is that we're just resistant to change because
Mm.
change is usually bad for us. Or not, let me not,
Mm.
let me not, let me disassociate the us, but you get what I'm saying. Like it change back then, 100 or 200 years ago might have been a bad change. You might be getting I ain't gonna say what might be happening, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's not like nowadays where change could be a new job. Change could be I'm moving to an exciting city. Change could be X, Y, and Z. Change means something totally different for us nowadays. And so I think it's our responsibility as if we're gonna call ourselves black, the new black people, it's our responsibility to just usher in a new era for black people and embrace change, embrace the right kind of change and don't be scared,
Yeah. And so you think that it's like a scare thing, or like just because of
Yeah, I mean, I'm listening to this book. I think because I was telling you I was trying to get into it, but I did a lot of driving yesterday, so it gave me a chance to listen to it, and it was talking about. I mean, it's just simple stuff. We have two ways of thinking. Just the emotional brain, and then the rational brain, and they're wired together. They're not so separate. They really fuel each other. And so if somebody's emotional brain is already, I ain't gonna say poison, but it's already triggered before we me and you even start the conversation. What can I do to move you off of that? If you're already
Mm.
scared of change, and I come to you with a change, even if it's a good change, even if it's we might it's not certain, but you can change your life. Nah, I want the demons that I already know. I already know my manager. I don't. I already. I can see a path to retirement, like you be saying. You know what I'm saying? So, nah, this is more comfortable for me. I don't want to do that gambling, investing stuff. It's that's too much change for me. I like my current system. And to that point, I'm not just gonna say it's I've never experienced this. I do. I get it. I'm able to speak to it because I feel it. But here's the thing: call it God, call it whatever you want to call it, but you'll hear certain things. There'll be certain signals, like you said, like the Matrix. There'll be certain times when it unplugs or something. It's like a glitch, and you gotta. It's on you whether you decide to notice it or not, and investigate it, and be like,
Mm.
"What was that? I don't.
And so
I didn't like that."
and so that's me. Like when I see the glitch, I'm like, wait, no, I'm like, no, that was a glitch. No, I ain't crazy. No, that was a glitch right there. And then
Yeah.
I'll go walking over there, like like not like I'll be. I'm like, oh, okay, hold on, let me make sure I keep my distance, but let me go explore. And I'm looking over there, like, man, what?
No, but people are scared to explore that. So imagine if you was too scared to even like, nah. I mean, I think about video games. They tell you don't leave a certain area. Even if you leave a certain area, we're gonna redirect you. Some people like I'm not going to explore.
Mm, okay, okay, all right. So I love that. I'm gonna add a segment in just uh, because you went there, and I'm gonna do it now. Just it was gonna be at the end of the show, but now I'm gonna do it now.
All
Uh,
right,
because I believe that it's gonna tie in to what we're doing. So give me a second. I'm gonna cue it up, but because I think you're on to something, and it reminds me of something that I read, and so I was going to do the presentation right now.
here we go. Here we go.
Nothing too heavy, but just all right, there
All
we go.
right.
And all right, there we go. All right, so like I told you, I'm currently reading this book. I told you I'll bring y'all along the journey, and because it's the KB Money Show, we always got to wrap it back around to the money. But I mean, you got to think about it when you're talking about money, it's a geopolitical realm. It's the finance, it's the economy. It's not just one singular thing. Obviously, you do have to control what's right in front of you. And one of the things in the book that it talked about was you mentioned those glitches, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those glitches in the matrix, the glitch. And you can choose to be aware of the glitch or ignore the glitch. And it can be in the form of, I know I need to, I came across somebody that's healthy, in shape, just in pass and share with me their success story, what worked for them. In my current state, I'm unhealthy, I'm not well, I'm overweight, and it's because I lack delayed gratification, right? I'm just using you, I'm telling, give you an example.
Right.
Why? is because so the delayed gratification. And that's really important for us to have because when things are made aware to us of the process or the steps to get there, you know how you're in your head and you're like, so then at that point you have a pretty good idea of what to do. Now it's will you do it? And what ends up happening is the second point, you're procrastinating. You're man, I need to eat what I need to go to the gym and work out. I need to save my money. I need to do this. I need to do that. But then in your mind, you feeling stuck and you don't do anything and you procrastinate.
Yeah.
And so the glitch is there. So you get the glitch because you see you get maybe it's the maybe the glitch is you get the exposure of like what it could be. But then it still comes back down to you of having that delayed gratification, but then you're just procrastinating. And then but and so what is that? Why are you procrastinating? Why do we procrastinate? And one of those things is, and I'll use me specifically, health is wealth. You do the hard thing first and then focus on the easy parts, the easy things. Because once you get the hard part out of the way, aka go to the gym early in the morning and let that be the first thing that you do. Or if it's not going to the gym, maybe it's you wanting to write a book. Well, maybe you might need to do that first thing in the morning, for example, to get to start to get some traction. But the more you ignore the harder your life will be. You just might not see it right now.
Right. Man, this sounds like a good book. Shoot, I mean, I'm gonna have to check it out. But yeah, it's I definitely resonate with the idea of doing the hard thing first. That's usually how I try to approach things. I usually at work and just in general in life, I like to create little task lists. You know what I'm saying? And so the I try to do a task list and rank it in what's most important and urgent. So man, but yeah, I think it's definitely exposure, like you were saying, getting access to resources like this, books like this. It's life changing. And so I think in the past couple of weeks, we were talking about producer, and I think I was talking about being a producer. And what I come to think more about this week is that you do need to consume. There needs to be a balance. But you need to make sure that you're in control of your ratio. What's your balance? How much you're producing, how much you're consuming. And B, both are just important. The part that you are consuming, you got to make sure that it's got to be worthy of your time. You know what I mean? It's got to be worth it. Not don't just be. I think when we were talking about the S2S pod a couple weeks ago, like he really nailed that point of in this generation today, it's so easy to just mindlessly consume. You can consume on accident. You can consume on the way to work. You can consume on public transportation. You got your phone. You can consume anything.
You like this.
And, and it's
And then
like,
you look around and
and it's the norm.
yeah.
Everyone is like that. And so you like,
Wait, have you ever caught yourself where you like this? And then you looked around and it was like everybody was like that. You like, dang.
so I think you was talking earlier about something about like kids or something like kids coming up. And it made me think about how nowadays it's different. Like I think you're talking about parents teaching their kids, but nowadays it's not even about like kids growing up three, as soon as they can walk and talk and got their motor skills, they got an iPad in their hand. That's scary to me. It's cool, but it's kind of scary to me because it's like, man, that's just, I mean, some parents, that's just unfiltered access to the internet, to everything, the entire world. It's crazy. But yeah, man.
So I'm gonna do a hard pivot. I'm gonna do a hard pivot. We have to talk about what's going on in the job market.
Mm.
Full screen.
Yeah, I can see a screen.
The job market is flashing signs that layoffs could accelerate this year.
You see all that red? You saw it, all that red going down on that stock marker.
Yeah.
That was good timing. Shoot.
There are signals coming from employers that hint that layoffs could accelerate this year. Layoffs announcements rose 28% in January from the prior month, according to Challenger data. Business filings of mass layoff plans have also been elevated in recent months.
Mm, interesting.
Scrolling down, it's just showing you the Challenger and it's just showing you the pattern. So something that I wanted to point out to folks was, how do you know if a company is laying off? So companies have to file a report
Mm,
ahead of time, and it's the warn filing.
that sounds scary.
Yeah, well, write it down because you can write that down for anybody that's watching is because you can go and look yourself and go look at the warn filing, and you can get a feel for the activity that which companies are laying off, which companies aren't laying off.
Right.
But the reason I just wanted to set the stage for that because I mean the federal government is going through a transformation right now. Bro, we entering a different time. We entering in a new whatever this new is, right?
Right.
And even when I hear about the potential layoffs in the government, in my head, I'm thinking, well, we've been in the private sector, so we've been at will. So
Yeah,
the, like
it's not new to us. That kind
it
of
it's
stuff.
it's not new to us. Like, I remember people used to talk about, man, good government job, good security, and like once you get in, you just ride it on out till you get you a pension. You just ride it on out. But the day of riding it out is over. I
Yeah.
believe that we have officially arrived in the same language that's being used in the private sector now of efficiency,
Mm,
restructuring,
right.
hiring, reprioritization, all these buzzwords and corporate terms. As you can see, it's starting to make its way over to the government. And so for me in my head, it just sounds, and you do know that the government is the largest employer in the country.
Mm,
But guess who's paying it? Tax dollars. And so in my head, just because you've been somewhere for a very long time, should you, I think, should it have some type of metrics attached to it? Or just because you work for the government, you should just be able to work there, for the next 30, 40 years? I don't have the answer. What do you think?
I mean, almost when you put it like that, it's almost like that military type of thinking of like, I put in my years of service, but I don't think these people have to go to boot camp and basic training and all that. It's different. Like you said, it's almost like civilian type jobs, but you just happen to be working for the government. So I think it makes sense that I can't, usually I try to speak to what the corporations and what the government's going to do. I don't know what the government's going to do, but if you are a person that's in one of these positions, I would just say that. You need to start, trying to read tea leaves and figure out where the market is going, because it seems like it's either going to be they're going to contract your job out from underneath you, or you need to find a way to, if you want to stay full time with whatever department you're at, if that department don't get shut down, you need to figure out how to continue providing value. Like, where is the value at? And so, and that applies to that applies to government employees, private employees. Just look at and figure out, ways that you can provide value to the market and provide value to your company. What do they need?
Yeah. But isn't that what it should always be about? Like providing value, not only value to yourself, but it should be some mutualism there. I know people that work in the government and they're like, man, that ain't nothing happening. Like, man, it's so wasteful. Like, but sure, there's other areas that's probably high performing, like it's doing well. But you know, whenever you think about this, we got to make sure we spend the money, otherwise we won't get it in the budget. That the sheer fact of that way of thinking is not efficient. It's not cost effective.
Yeah,
It's very wasteful.
yeah,
But
and yeah, it makes me think about, I think, you know, DEI. It's almost become like a cuss word, like a punching bag the past week or two. But like it's almost like it makes me think about an episode or two ago. We were talking about, I think we are talking about Cam, and I was just making the point of seasons. Life happens in seasons. DEI was a season. There was a point in time you get that you could. I would bank my career maybe on DEI, or at least my current career. But I think what me and you were just talking about, it should just be about having a personal system of wanting to create value and always evaluating the best ways to create value. Don't just tie your identity to what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm in sales right now, but I'm a salesman by trade, by title, but I'm not a seller. I'm Keon. I'm a husband, a brother, and I'm looking to provide value to my company. And so, what people that's really going to be in trouble by these type of moves, just using DEI for the example, if you say, you know what, I'm gonna get your DEI bag, it seems like that's where it's going, you might be in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Because, and I'm not trying to bully DEI. There was a point in time, there was a season where that was valuable to companies. Companies look good if they had that DEI badge. If they look like they were doing initiatives, it wasn't. It's funny. It's easy to look back on it like, what was they doing? But shoot, people, we was eating it up. We, in capital, what we, you know what I'm saying? We liked it. So why wouldn't Target still got the black and brown collection going? So, and it's the market. We are the market. We have to talk about the market like it's an abstract term. We are the market. Companies respond to the market, us, and so the I was in. Now it's out. So us as responsible employees, as responsible people, figure out where the market's going and head in that direction.
yeah. Speaking of heading that direction, Meta informed
Dang,
staff that layoffs will begin Monday morning in a now leaked memo. So,
they leaking everything over there. I
oh,
mean,
they leak stuff all the time, not just Meta. Like, no, it's so when you think of a leak, you have to think of it's an internal employee go and talk to someone in the news off the like they say, hey, just don't say my name. And so that happens all the time with these big companies. It's almost impossible to keep a secret because somebody's going to leak it out to the news.
right,
And to be honest with you, sometimes they might be the one leaking it out to the news themselves. So if you know how if you think about sports, you know how a narrative or something will come up about a player, and you're like, how did the news? It is sometimes because the team leaked it. They pretend
right.
they didn't, but they did. Like so, like it's all these games that happen And if you don't understand that some of these things happen, it happens, right? And that's just a part of the game. So high level here, I'm not gonna read through all this, but the key point takeaways is Meta's vice president of human resources told employees yesterday for us, that layoffs will begin next week.
Dang.
According to a copy of the memo, US-based employees will be notified on Monday at 5 a.m. PT. Meta intends to lay off 5% of staff or over 3,000 employees.
5%. Wow.
So 5% will be eliminated. And so my question to you is, do you agree with the approach? Uh, at least you know it's coming.
Right. Oh, you mean like of telling them ahead of time?
Yeah, telling them.
I agree in that regard. Well, I will say,
But up until that point, though, you like,
eh,
oh, yo, you.
I don't just tell me though. Just tell me though. Tell me on Friday and say, hey, you may be laid off on Monday. Don't just be like, some of y'all 5%, which I
But
don't
that's
know if
what
they
but
did that. They might have.
that's what they're doing.
Okay,
I
I'm
mean,
about to say, as long as they telling the people that's getting laid off, hey, you
no,
on
no, no, you're not gonna know until Monday.
okay. But I think it's also on also majority of people. I mean, I don't know. I've never been laid off, but I mean, what do you think? I feel like if you know, you would know. You would feel it coming. What do you think?
Mm-mm.
It can just be random. So I'm like, I don't know. I want them to like tell the people that's hey, start looking at stuff over the weekend. Like hey, Friday, hey you.
It don't work like that.
Yeah, it's hard.
No.
Cause what you gonna do? Tell somebody?
Sometimes you might be referencing like if you are on a PIP, performance improvement plan,
Right.
or a low performance, something like that. Yes, you know it's coming. But when it comes to these sweeping layoffs, sometimes some people may fall in the bucket. Some people may fall into they were a high performer and sometimes the company is trying to get rid of mid-level managers because they've hired maybe too many managers and directors, and so they're just leaning out, reducing the cost, and they're doing what Doge is doing, looking around.
Mm,
But you got to think about it. Who's comprised of Doge?
the government. Well, isn't it Elon? Didn't Elon the
There
head
you
of
go.
it?
I was gonna search it so you can look and see for yourself. But yeah, I don't. Is my screen not shared anymore? Is it?
Not yet. No, no.
Okay, good. Yeah. And so it's Elon. What is Elon? What sector does Elon work in? Public or private?
Both.
Government contract. I mean, government, which is public, private, just, like corporations. Now, obviously, they're publicly traded, but in those terms, and so the point is the government is consulting with the businessmen on that's the approach that they're using, going and evaluating all these agencies, tying it back to Meta. So Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, these guys are doing an efficiency across the company, a cost cutting efficiency, reducing headcount, and that's just a part of the game. So the reason I went full circle with it, and so that's just what that's just what's happening. And so you would think that it's just low performing, but no, 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 no. I saw it. I saw it. Someone that was crushing it, high performer, and they got swept up in the layoffs. And you see that happens. That is part of the game when you are a corporate athlete. That's just a
We
part.
just saw what happened to Luca. I mean, I don't know. Shoot, it's what they say. They come with it.
Yeah, and so that's what comes with it, man. That's just a part of it. But I wanted to talk about that. But man, that's gonna be a long weekend
Yeah.
for people
Okay.
just in
So
general. So because it's not like, oh no, you're protected, you're protected. It's not that. Like,
right.
it's not that.
I think in that with that context, because like I said, it's hard. Even from an HR perspective, or in it from a security perspective, we're not gonna tell you you're gonna get fired. And you got the weekend to just go leak whatever you want. We already got leak problems. Nah, but I think I don't know. It's just hard. It's hard. How do you tell? How do you break up with somebody? Is there an easy way to do it? So I
It's
get
not,
it.
but it being open and honest is because sometimes people get totally blindsided where you coming in on a Monday and you see an invite on your calendar, you like, what's that?
Mm,
And then you go to the list and you see some people on there that you ain't ever seen before, and you hover over their titles and you see their title, you like, oh man, I
yeah,
know what this is.
yeah.
And you know, you might as well just brace yourself. That
Offboarding specialist. You like, we have one of those. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it would be that in that term, it would probably just be like HR director or like a human resource business partner or employee relations.
Something important sounding.
Something. If you see somebody like that on the call and you ain't never met with them before, and you might see your manager on the call on there too. Yeah, that's probably what's about to go down. But yeah, man, that's just keeping people abreast on what's going on. Obviously, it's a part of it. If a person is being impacted, I just think about when you were making that good money, hopefully being a good steward, of making that good money because I tell you,
Mm,
when you in tech and you making that tech money, six figures and all that good stuff, you can get comfortable and as soon as it's coming in, it's going out. It's coming in, it's going out. And which is a good segue, which is a good segue to why I lost it. It'll come back to me. But it's a good segue to there we go. Popped up. There we go. The importance of looking broke.
oh, I like that.
The reason is when you in corporate, a lot of times you getting that good, you getting that good old, let's just say, you getting that good old money. Then you it is coming out, right? It is coming out. You are you ain't saying nothing. You ain't putting nothing in your retirement account, nothing. It's just coming out. You getting your money. You uh, let's say you get you a nice little let's say you get you a nice Beamer, right? You get you a nice
Mm,
Beamer. Nah, actually, let's say you get you a nice little Mercedes, right? Let's just say your car payment is $1,000 a month.
mm, okay.
That's that's 1,000. That's 1.2.
Mm,
Plus, what you didn't account for was gas. Gas. Let's say you spending $400 a month in gas. Actually,
ooh,
actually,
dang.
let's say you're spending 300 in gas.
What about my insurance? I don't
Two,
even know.
let's say, yeah, let's say you're doing,
And I gotta get the what's it called? The gap. Mm, yeah.
yeah, so that's 1.2. So five. So let's do the math. So let's say you're let's say your That's car. Okay, that ain't working right. I don't like how that's doing that.
Man, these cars.
I don't like how that's doing that. There we go. Car, you got car. I'm wondering if I can, yeah, I can erase it real quick.
Yeah, I see them there.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So let's just do some numbers over here. Car. Man, that thing is not working. Gonna clear it out. We gonna get there. Hang tight.
These cars getting be pricey to maintain. Shoot, that you got me thinking about the numbers. Shoot.
Okay. I don't know why it's doing the rectangle thing. But anyway, we'll get off of that. But we'll get off of that and we'll have to go back. We'll have to explore that at another time. Um, because it's not all right, get a new whiteboard. Give it one more go. Okay. All
There
right.
we go.
Okay, so I'm gonna do the categories. I think let's make it like that, categories.
There we go.
House, house,
There we go.
car. That's what be getting you. The house
There
and
we go. There we
the
go.
house and the car. So with the car, let's say you have $1,000 note. Let's say your gas, like realistic, like gas,
240. If it because you can't put no cheap gas, no Mercedes. I mean, you gotta put the good stuff in there,
that's gas.
and you can't just have
Gas,
it at the house. You gotta drive it.
gas. So let's say 250, 250 for gas. Insurance. How much is insurance?
Ooh,
225?
ooh, that yeah, I think that's a safe estimate. 255. This is expensive.
250.
Ooh,
250.
that's being generous, I think. But yeah,
I I think so, but
this is expensive.
let's go house. Let's say you get you something, let's say,
Who
oh,
is this person?
huh?
Who is this person? How old is this person?
This person is, let's just say that they're,
Maybe 40, 35, 40. I didn't see.
no, I'm gonna use real examples. I'm gonna
Oh,
use real
okay.
45.
Okay.
Let's say they're establishing their career. Let's say that they have a 125.
Okay. Gave my man a downgrade.
Well, just because like 175, man, what you talking about? Who make that? So I'm gonna
Right.
so I'm gonna say 125, right?
Hey, but hey.
So the mortgage,
Oh, okay, if he's 45. Okay. 25? 3? Where we at with it?
okay, so 2500. You make sure you have your calculator over there because I'm working the whiteboard. All right. So the house, car, 2500, right? Let's say 2500 for the mortgage, right?
Right.
What would you say the utilities would be?
Maybe 300. 4. Yeah, 300. Let's be generous. Maybe they don't use too much. His kids don't play Fortnite. They go outside.
Okay. 2,800 a month, 1,500 a month. Where we at?
What's on the left side? 2,800. What,
Hmm.
4,300 per month? Shoot,
So, but you got to ask yourself, guess what hadn't been taken out?
taxes.
And so let's say subtract 25%.
125. Is that just 100,000? I'm trying to think.
Man, I believe 125 times 0.25 times 25%. That's 31,000.
So then that's gonna come out to be 94.
94.
Okay, about 94 take home. Okay, that's a good amount. You can make that straight.
Can you?
Not now. Now if you got
But you got to ask
mm,
yourself, what hasn't been talked about?
retirement,
There you go. What's missing?
so take 5-10% off of that, maybe, depending on how you want to allocate it. But at least 5%, maybe. Get your little 401k going. So it's 5% of 125. 31,000. Is that another 3,000, basically? Something like that.
6,000 in savings. But let's keep it real. Most people save after they take care of stuff. So house, car. Let's say you want to travel. What is going to cost you to travel? What
Five.
you
No, no. If you got money like this, let's call it 5 to 10,000. We're gonna take a little trip.
20, so put it in context. 2,800 times 12 is 33
Okay. Mm.
times 12. 1,500 times 12 is 18. 33 plus 18, we're at 51.
So
Fif-
okay.
We're at 51K. Guess what? No groceries,
Mm.
groceries missing, no travel, no hiccups. You ain't no savings, no investments,
No debt payoff.
no debt payoff. Because this is assuming that this person is 100% debt free and they ain't got all the. So my point is going back to what I said in when it comes to the layoffs, you have to make sure
Mm.
you got your life in order. And as you can see, when you start to realize, oh man, these numbers not adding up. The numbers aren't adding up. And so when you hear things like most people are one financial situation away, like one layoff away, or to where they can only sustain themselves a check or two, that's an issue.
Right.
And so we got to be serious about life. We have to be serious because things can change. Where am I going, Ken? The point of me even bringing this up is, and going through that exercise, it was a little messy there, but that's fine. Is you have to operate as if your life depends on it because it
Right.
does. You only live one life, and we have to operate with a lot more intentions around focusing on assets versus liabilities. It's the KB Money Show, man.
Man, that was a good one. Wow.
Yeah. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure to comment, like, subscribe. We're gonna keep improving, getting better, looking for creative ways to uh, make it entertaining, uh,
Yeah.
providing value. We got to talk about
Yeah.
all things as it relates to what's going on in the economy, what's going on with the money, and tying it back to yourself and on a practical side. So if you saw that whiteboard moment, and that was an eye opener for you, one tangible thing that you can do today is do a reverse budget, which I've covered in the past. It's AKA pay yourself first, meaning pay yourself first, pick that investment percentage amount that you want to pay yourself, and then budget the rest out to all those other ancillary things. And don't be having that high, don't be, yeah, I'm using that word, that high, those high car payments, over buying too much house, because as you can see, it's a money trap. Until the next episode, we'll catch y'all later. We appreciate y'all. We out of here.
Peace.